The stars looked different here in the drift zone. They flickered through layers of broken metal and shattered glass, sat in the pilot's seat of his small ship, the Wanderer, and watched the debris float past his window. Each piece told a story. That twisted hull plate came from a cruiser. That burned engine core belonged to a human destroyer. All of them were ghosts from a war that ended 200 years ago. Seven, run another scan, said. He rubbed his tired eyes. They had been searching for 3 days now. The combat robot standing behind him whirred softly. Seven was tall, made of dark gray metal that showed its age in scratches and dents. One of its optical sensors glowed blue, the other red from a repair had done last year. The robot had fought in the Galactic Convergence War alongside thousands of other machines. Most of them were scrap now. Seven survived because refused to let it die. Scanning complete, Seven replied in its flat mechanical voice. No valuable power cores detected in this sector. Recommendation: move to grid 77 Alpha. Shook his head. That's too close to the patrol routes. We'll get flagged. He tapped his fingers on the control panel. Let's go deeper instead. Deeper into the graveyard violates safety protocols, Seven said. Since when do we follow protocols? Smiled slightly. He pushed the throttle forward. The Wanderer hummed and glided between two massive shipwrecks. Their shadows fell across the cockpit like dark hands. Was 34 years old, but space had aged him. His black hair showed streaks of early gray. His hands were rough from years of repair work. He lived alone except for Seven, traveling from one debris field to another, selling what he found to whoever would pay. Most salvagers worked in teams. They stuck to the safe zones where the military allowed them to pick through the outer edges of the graveyard, but went where others feared to go. He had his reasons. Do you miss it? Asked suddenly. The war, I mean, having a purpose. Seven was quiet for a moment. Robots didn't need to think but had modified Seven's processing core years ago. It could think now, maybe even feel in its own way. I had a purpose, Seven finally said. Protect humans, I still have that purpose. I protect you. Felt something warm in his chest. Yeah, thanks, buddy. The Wanderer moved through a field of broken satellites. Some were as big as buildings, had to carefully steer around them. One wrong move and they would crash, but his hands were steady. He had done this 1,000 times before. Contact, Seven said sharply. Unknown power signature detected. Distance 3 kilometers, direction, bearing 270. Sat up straight. Unknown, what kind of signature? Analyzing. Seven's optical sensors brightened. Energy pattern does not match any known reactor type. Power output is minimal but steady. This should not be possible. All vessels in this sector have been dead for 2 centuries. Felt his heart beat faster. This was either very good or very bad. Good meant they found something valuable. Bad meant they found something dangerous. In the drift zone, those two things were often the same. Show me, he said. A holographic display appeared above the control panel. It showed their ship as a small green dot. 3 kilometers away, a red marker pulsed slowly like a heartbeat. Could be a trap, said, thinking out loud. Pirates sometimes set up fake signals. Probability of pirate activity in this sector, 12%, Seven calculated. This region is too dangerous for most criminals. Debris density is too high. Stared at the pulsing red marker. His sister used to say he was too curious for his own good. She died in this graveyard during the war's final battle. Her ship took a direct hit while covering a civilian evacuation. They never even found her body. Just her name on a memorial wall back on Earth. Maybe that was why he kept coming back here, looking for something, anything. Let's check it out, decided, but keep weapons ready. Weapons are always ready, Seven said. The robot moved to the gunnery station. Its metal fingers touched the controls with surprising gentleness. The Wanderer turned and accelerated. They moved through the graveyard like a fish swimming through an underwater forest. Dead ships loomed on all sides. Some were huge, bigger than city blocks. Others were small fighters, frozen in their last moment of combat. Saw a human cruiser split completely in half. He saw an alien carrier with its entire side melted away. War was ugly. It left ugly scars. The power signature grew stronger as they approached. Instruments started going crazy. The readings made no sense. 7. Is this thing alive? Insufficient data, 7 replied. But the energy pattern resembles biological rhythms, like a heartbeat. A ship with a heartbeat. Had seen a lot of strange things in the drift zone, but never that. They came around a massive asteroid and gasped. There it was. The vessel was enormous, half buried in a cluster of smaller asteroids. Its design was completely alien, not like the or any species knew. The hull was smooth and dark, almost black, with lines running through it that glowed very faintly with blue light. Those lines pulsed, on, off, like a heartbeat. "I've never seen anything like this," whispered. "Database search initiated," 7 said. "No match found in any known ship registry. Hull composition is unknown. Age, uncertain. This vessel predates all recorded designs in my combat archives." Felt a chill run down his spine. Before the war, before the galactic convergence, before humans even left Earth, something built this ship. And somehow, after all this time, it was still alive. "We should report this," 7 said. "This discovery requires official investigation." But was already strapping into his spacewalk gear. "By the time officials get here, someone else will have claimed it. We found it. We check it first." "That is dangerous," 7 pointed out. "Everything we do is dangerous," said. He grabbed his cutting torch and magnetic boots. "Come on, let's see what secrets this thing is hiding." 7's optical sensors dimmed slightly, which had learned meant the robot was worried. But 7 followed anyway. It always did. That was what friends were for. The Wanderer attached to the alien ship's hull with magnetic clamps, and 7 stepped out into the silent void of space. Above them, the stars watched. Below them, the ancient vessel pulsed with its slow, steady heartbeat, waiting for someone to finally hear its message. The cutting torch burned white-hot against the alien hull. Sparks flew into space and disappeared into darkness. Worked slowly, carefully. He had breached many ships before, but this one felt different. The metal under his torch was warm, not hot from the cutting, but warm like skin, like something alive. "Hull breach in 30 seconds, 7 said through the radio. The robot stood beside him, magnetic boots locked to the surface. 7's combat sensors swept the area constantly, watching for threats. The torch cut through the last section. A circular piece of hull drifted away. Beyond it was darkness. "Air pressure detected inside," 7 reported. "Composition, nitrogen, oxygen, trace elements. Breathable for humans. Temperature 20 degrees. This should not be possible." "Nothing about this should be possible," said. His voice sounded strange inside his helmet. He checked his oxygen supply and weapon, then crawled through the hole they had made. His boots touched the floor inside and lights turned on. Not all at once, but slowly, like eyes opening after a long sleep. The lights were blue and soft. They ran along the walls in patterns that looked almost like veins. Looked around and felt his breath catch. The interior of the ship was beautiful and terrifying. The walls were not made of metal or plastic. They looked organic, like the inside of some massive creature. Curved ribs rose from the floor to the ceiling. The floor itself had texture, like rough skin. Everything pulsed very slightly with that same heartbeat rhythm. "This is a living ship," said quietly, "or it was built to look like one." 7 climbed through behind him. The robot's optical sensors glowed brighter, trying to process what they were seeing. "Architecture does not match any known civilization. Recommend extreme caution." They moved forward into a corridor. Their footsteps made soft sounds on the strange floor. The walls seemed to react to their presence. The blue veins glowed brighter as they passed, then dimmed again behind them. It reminded of stories about ancient places that woke when visitors arrived. "Can you translate any of this?" asked. Strange symbols covered the walls, flowing and organic like the rest of the ship. "Negative," Seven said. "Language is completely unknown. However, some symbols share mathematical properties with predecessor codes from my war archives." "Stopped walking. Predecessors. You mean the civilization from before the current galaxy?" "Correct. During the war, we discovered fragments of their technology. Most was destroyed or lost. The Galactic Council classified all predecessor research. I only have combat-relevant data in my memory." The predecessors were a legend. Billions of years ago they ruled the galaxy. Then they vanished. Nobody knew why. Most species thought they were just a myth, but looked at the walls around him and knew this ship was real. It was old, older than anything he had ever seen. They walked deeper. The corridor opened into a larger chamber. In the center stood a platform, and on that platform was a crystal. It was the size of his head, perfectly clear, and it glowed from within. The light pulsed with the ship's heartbeat. "Energy source located," Seven announced. "That crystal is generating the power signature we detected." Approached carefully, his hand reached toward the crystal, then stopped. "Should I touch it?" "Unknown," Seven admitted. "Probability of danger high. Probability of valuable discovery also high." That was life in a summary. He touched the crystal. The chamber exploded with light. Not real light that hurt the eyes, but something else. Holographic images filled the air around them. Stumbled back, but the images followed him. They were everywhere. He saw stars, thousands of them. Then he saw ships, massive fleets moving through space. The ships had the same organic design as the vessel he stood in now. They were running from something, could feel their fear even through the recording. Then he saw what they were running from, things that looked like tears in reality itself, darkness that ate stars, shapes that hurt to look at. The images moved too fast. His head started to ache. "Warning detected," a voice said. It came from everywhere and nowhere. It spoke in a language did not know, but somehow he understood it. The words appeared in his mind like memories. "They are coming. The harvesters approach. Extinction pattern detected." "Harvesters," whispered. "What are harvesters?" The images changed. He saw worlds dying, civilizations falling, everything turning to dust and darkness. The harvesters consumed everything. They were the end of all things. "Seek the anchors," the voice continued. "Only those who hope can use them. Only those who adapt can survive. Only humanity can." The message broke apart into static. The crystal pulsed faster now, almost frantic. Seven moved to side, weapons armed and ready. "Only humanity can what?" demanded. "Finish the message." But the hologram focused on him now. It seemed to see him, really see him. A beam of light shot from the crystal straight into his eyes. He screamed. Pain flooded his head. Information poured into his neural implant, far too much data all at once. He saw numbers, star charts, warnings, calculations. A countdown timer, 78 days remaining until what? Until the end. Seven's voice sounded distant. "Your neural activity is spiking to dangerous levels. You must break contact with the crystal." But could not move. The data kept flowing. He saw 6 locations scattered across the galaxy. Each one held something important. Weapons, answers. He could not tell, his vision blurred, his legs gave out. Seven caught him before he hit the floor. The robot's strong arms held him up. "We must leave, now." "Wait," gasped. Blood ran from his nose. His head felt like it was splitting open. "The message I saw, the harvesters, they're coming here to this galaxy in 78 days. "You are suffering from data shock," Seven said firmly. The robot started dragging him back toward the corridor. "Your implant has been overloaded. We need medical assistance." The crystal's light faded behind them. The ship's heartbeat slowed again. As they left, heard the voice one last time, very quiet. "Find them. Wake them. Only you can. 7 carried through the corridors. The walls dimmed as they passed, as if the ship was going back to sleep. They reached the breach point and climbed out into space. 7 moved fast, pulling toward the Wanderer. Inside the ship, 7 laid on the medical bed. The robot's fingers moved quickly over the medical controls, injecting stabilizers and pain suppressors into his bloodstream. His eyes rolled back. He saw the images again, burned into his mind. Fleets of darkness, worlds ending, a countdown that would not stop. 78 days, he mumbled. Have to warn them, have to tell Earth. Rest, 7 commanded. Your body needs recovery time. But grabbed 7's metal arm. His grip was weak but desperate. You don't understand, I saw it, the end of everything. And the message said only humanity can stop it. Why us? Why humans? 7's optical sensors focused on him. I do not know, but we will find answers. First, you must survive. His eyes closed. The pain medication was pulling him into darkness. His last thought before unconsciousness took him was about the crystal's final words. Only you can. Only humanity. Why? What made humans special in a galaxy full of stronger, smarter species? They were the newcomers, the young race that barely survived the war. What could they do that no one else could? 7 piloted the Wanderer away from the ancient ship. The robot looked back once at the massive vessel floating in the asteroid field. Its heartbeat continued, pulsing in the darkness, waiting. 7 recorded the exact location in its memory banks. Something told the robot they would return here. Something told 7 that everything was about to change. Woke up 3 days later. His head still hurt, but the pain was distant now, like a bad memory. He sat up slowly on the medical bed. 7 stood nearby, as always, never sleeping, always watching. How long was I out? Asked. His throat was dry. 72 hours, 7 replied. The robot handed him a water container. Your neural implant suffered significant overload. I stabilized you, but there is permanent data storage in your brain now. The ship downloaded information directly into your biological memory. Drank the water and thought about that. His implant was a basic model, used for communication and simple computer interface. It was never designed to hold the amount of information he felt sitting in his head now. He closed his eyes and could see it all. Star maps, ancient language fragments, technical diagrams, and that countdown timer always ticking, 75 days remaining. I need to contact Sid. Sun was an old friend from his military days. They served together on a defense station during the final year of the war. After the war ended, stayed in the military and worked his way up. Now he was a captain in Earth's defense fleet, commanding a patrol cruiser. He was one of the few people who might believe story. 7 set up the communication link. It took a few minutes to reach ship. When the holographic display activated, his face appeared. He looked older than remembered. His hair was cut military short, and he wore the gray uniform of an Earth officer. Said surprised, I haven't heard from you in 2 years. What do you want? I need you to listen, said, and try not to think I'm crazy. He told everything. The ancient ship, the crystal, the message about harvesters, the countdown. As he spoke, he could see the doubt growing on his face. Said carefully when he finished, you suffered neural trauma. You said so yourself. Maybe what you saw was just corrupted data or hallucinations. It's real, insisted. I can prove it. The data in my head includes exact coordinates for 6 other locations, predecessor sites. They're scattered across the galaxy. Even if it is real, said, you're talking about an extinction-level threat that no one has detected. Our long-range scanners would have picked up something. Would they? Asked. How do you scan for something you don't know exists? The predecessors left this message for a reason. They knew about the harvesters, they ran from them, and they lost. Was quiet for a moment. Then he shook his head. I'll file a report, but I can't promise anything. Command is busy with border disputes and trade negotiations. They won't scramble the fleet based on a salvager's vision. 75 days, said quietly. That's all we have. Get some rest, said, and his voice was kind but firm. Have a doctor check your implant. If you find real evidence, contact me again. The transmission ended. Sat in silence, Seven stood beside him. He did not believe you, Seven observed. No, he didn't, rubbed his face. What about the Galactic Council? Should I try contacting them? The Council consists of 12 species, Seven said. Humans are associate members only. We have limited influence. Additionally, the Council moves slowly. Bureaucracy requires proof and multiple confirmations. By the time they act, your countdown will be finished. Felt frustration building in his chest. He had information that could save billions of lives and nobody would listen, because he was just a salvager, just a human. In galactic terms, humans were newcomers, young, inexperienced. Why would anyone believe them about ancient threats? Then remembered something, he said suddenly. Seven's optical sensors brightened with recognition. Your former partner, engineer, specialist in alien technology integration. You have not spoken to her in 4 years. 4 years and 7 months, corrected. They had a bad breakup. She wanted him to give up salvaging and work on Earth. He refused to leave the drift zone. They both said things they regretted, but was brilliant. If anyone could help him understand the predecessor data, it was her. Finding her was easy. She ran an engineering shop on Titan Station, one of humanity's larger orbital facilities. Getting her to talk to him was harder. His first 3 communication requests were. On the 4th try, she answered. Looked the same, short black hair, sharp eyes that missed nothing. She wore a grease-stained work jumpsuit. She said flatly, "This better be important." The galaxy is going to end in 75 days, said. Is that important enough? Her expression did not change. Still dramatic, I see. I'm serious. He sent her some of the data from his implant, star charts, the countdown, fragments of the predecessor warning. Look at this and tell me I'm crazy. Was silent as she reviewed the information. Her eyes moved rapidly, reading, analyzing. Saw her expression shift from annoyance to confusion to something that might have been fear. Where did you get this? She asked quietly. A predecessor ship, in the drift zone. It's still alive and it gave me a warning. This data structure is authentic, said slowly. I've studied predecessor fragments before. This matches their encoding patterns, but the content, she stopped. Harvesters, reality-eating entities. This sounds impossible. So did faster-than-light travel until we learned how, pointed out. Will you help me? Bit her lip. She looked at the data again. If this is real, why would the message specify humans? We're not the strongest species, not the we barely survived the war. I don't know, admitted, but the ship chose me. The message activated when I touched it. Maybe there's something about humans that the predecessors recognized. Or maybe their systems were so old they malfunctioned, said, but she did not sound convinced. What do you need from me? The ship is still in the drift zone. I need to go back and fully activate it, but I need more power than my salvage vessel can provide. I need your engineering expertise. To wake up an ancient alien vessel that might be carrying corrupted data about galaxy-ending monsters, said. That's your plan. Yes. She laughed short and sharp. You haven't changed at all. Then her face grew serious. Fine, I'll help, but if this turns out to be nothing, you owe me a year's worth of apologies. Deal, said, relief flooding through him. It took 2 weeks to prepare. Closed her shop and gathered equipment. She brought portable fusion generators, data analysis tools, and enough spare parts to build a small ship. Surprisingly, also arrived. He claimed he was on leave but suspected he had gone unofficially AWOL. Command won't listen, explained. But I checked some old archives. There are stories, legends from before the Convergence War about cycles, about purges. Most species dismiss them as myths. He looked at seriously. Maybe they were wrong. The three of them, plus 7, boarded the Wanderer. The little salvage ship was crowded now, but nobody complained. They traveled back to the coordinates where the ancient vessel waited. When they arrived, felt a strange sensation in his mind. The data in his implant seemed to vibrate, as if recognizing its source. The ship was still there, still pulsing with that slow heartbeat. "It's beautiful," whispered, seeing it for the first time. "It's a weapon," said. "Look at the hull structure. Those aren't just decorative lines, they're weapon ports." 7 scanned the vessel thoroughly. Confirmed. This ship contains enough firepower to destroy a small fleet. However, all systems are dormant, minimal power only. "Then let's change that," said. They attached the fusion generators to the hull breach, worked for hours, running cables and setting up power transfer systems. Stood guard with 7, though what they were guarding against, nobody could say. Finally, everything was ready. "Activating power transfer in 3, 2, 1, said. Energy flowed from the generators into the ancient ship. The blue veins in the walls glowed brighter. The heartbeat increased, faster, stronger. The whole vessel trembled. Then the crystal in the central chamber blazed with light, and somewhere deep inside, something very old woke up. The ship spoke. Not with a voice exactly, but with thoughts that appeared in its mind. Clear and strong, like someone standing beside him whispering directly into his brain. "Chosen one," the thoughts said, "you have returned." Stood in the central chamber with the others. They all stared at the crystal, which now glowed so bright it hurt to look at. The walls around them pulsed rapidly, and the floor beneath their feet felt warm. "Did you hear that?" asked. "Hear what?" Had his weapon drawn, looking around nervously. "The ship, it's talking to me." Checked her instruments. "Your neural implant is showing massive activity. The ship is communicating directly with your brain." She looked worried. "Be careful. This much neural interface could damage you." But stepped closer to the crystal. He could feel the ship's presence now, like a vast intelligence that had been sleeping for eons. It was old. So old that Earth's entire history was just a blink to it, and it was lonely. "Why me?" asked out loud. "Why did you choose a human?" "Humans," the ship voice said, and there was something like satisfaction in it. "Finally, the inheritors have come." Images flooded his mind again, but slower this time, easier to understand. He saw the predecessors in their final days. They knew the harvesters were coming. They built ships like this one, weapons and archives combined, and scattered them across the galaxy. Then they left messages, encoded in ways that only certain species could read. "Your neural chemistry," the ship explained. "Your emotional patterns, the way you think. It matches the predecessors, not perfectly but close enough. Other species evolved differently. Their minds are too ordered, too logical. They cannot read our messages, but humans, you think like us. Chaotic, creative, stubbornly hopeful even when all seems lost." "So we're genetic inheritors?" asked. She had moved closer, listening to repeat what the ship was saying. "Not genetic," the ship corrected. "Psychological, emotional. The predecessors encoded their final messages to only respond to species with certain traits: adaptability, innovation, the refusal to accept defeat. We searched the probability streams for millions of years, waiting for a species like yours to evolve." Lowered his weapon slightly. "This is insane. We're talking to a ship that's older than our entire civilization." "I have a name," the ship said, and could sense amusement. "You may call me the last witness. I am the final archive of the predecessor civilization, all our knowledge, all our history, and all our weapons." The chamber transformed around them. Holographic displays appeared, showing the ship's true form. It was massive, far larger than had realized. Most of it was still buried in the asteroids. When fully activated, it would be the size of a small moon. 7 scanned the displays. Weapon systems detected, dimensional cannons, reality anchors, quantum disruption fields. This vessel could destroy an entire fleet alone. Correct, the last witness said. I was built for one purpose, to fight the harvesters, but I failed. My creators fell. I went into hibernation, waiting, hoping that someday a species worthy of inheriting our legacy would find me. And now we have, said, the countdown in my head, 72 days remaining, that's when the harvesters arrive. Yes, they move between galaxies, consuming all intelligent life, then moving on. They have done this for billions of years. Your galaxy is next. Was typing rapidly on her portable computer. According to the data received, there are 6 other locations, other ships like you. Not ships, the last witness corrected. Facilities, research stations, weapon platforms. Each contains something vital for fighting the harvesters. You must gather all 6 if you wish to have any chance of survival. Show us, commanded. A galactic map appeared in the air. 6 points glowed across it, scattered far apart. 1 was in human space. 2 were in neutral zones. 3 were deep in alien territories, places humans were rarely allowed to go. Studied the map grimly. This would take months to reach all of them. We have 72 days. You have me now, the last witness said. My engines still function. With proper power, I can travel faster than any ship in your current galaxy. We can reach all 6 locations in time. But we need more power than what we brought, said. She gestured at the fusion generators. These are just to wake you up. To actually fly, we'd need. The power core from a dead dreadnought, 7 interrupted. Scanning records. There is one 17 kilometers from this location. It crashed here during the final battle of the war. Remembered that battle. He had not been there personally, but everyone knew about it. The last stand of the Allied forces, thousands of ships fighting in this very graveyard, had been there. His sister had died in that battle, buying time for civilians to escape. Can we salvage it? Asked quietly. If we work together, yes, said. She looked at the map, at the countdown, at the massive task ahead of them. This is crazy. We're going to steal a power core, install it in an ancient alien ship, fly across the galaxy gathering weapons, and somehow fight entities that destroyed the most advanced civilization in history. Yes, said simply. The Galactic Council won't allow this, warned. When they find out what we're doing, they'll try to stop us. They'll want to take control of the last witness. Then we don't tell them, said. Not until we have all 6 pieces, not until we're ready. You would defy the council? The last witness asked, curious. If I have to, looked at his companions, at 7 who had followed him through countless dangers, at who came back despite their history, at who risked his career to help. We're human. We're good at defying authority when we think we're right. The last witness laughed, a sound like music in his mind. Yes, you are very much like the predecessors. They would have liked you. It took them 4 days to extract the power core. The work was dangerous and exhausting. They had to cut through twisted metal in 0 gravity, constantly aware that one wrong move could trigger an explosion that would kill them all. But they succeeded. When they installed the core into the last witness, the ship came fully alive. The walls stopped just pulsing, they glowed. The organic corridors expanded, creating new rooms and passages. Weapon ports opened along the hull. The ship's consciousness grew stronger in its mind, no longer weak and drowsy but alert and ready. I am operational, the last witness announced. All primary systems restored. Thank you, friends of. Stood on what had become the bridge, a chamber that had grown around the central crystal. Displays showed space outside, sensor readings, weapon systems. It was beautiful and terrifying. We should name ourselves, said suddenly. We're a crew now, we should have a name. Inheritors, 7 suggested. We are inheriting the predecessor's mission. Too formal, said. How about the desperate fools? "How about just the crew of the Last Witness?" said. "We don't need a fancy name, we just need to do the job." But then something happened. Alarms blared. The Last Witness's sensors detected movement in the graveyard. "Multiple contacts approaching," Seven reported. 37 ships. Configuration matches Galactic Council patrol fleet. They appeared on the displays. Sleek vessels from multiple species, all armed, all converging on their location. A communication came through. A stern-looking alien appeared on the screen, its 4 eyes narrowed. "Attention human salvage vessel. We have detected unauthorized activation of a predecessor artifact. By council law, all such artifacts must be surrendered immediately. Power down and prepare to be boarded." Cursed under his breath. Someone must have detected the energy signature when we powered up. Looked at, what do we do? Thought about the countdown. 71 days remaining. He thought about the 6 locations they needed to reach. He thought about the harvesters coming to consume everything. And he thought about what the Last Witness had said. Humans were stubborn, creative, and refused to accept defeat. "No," said simply. "No," the commander repeated, confused. "We're not surrendering this ship. We're not powering down. We have 71 days to save the galaxy, and we're not wasting time arguing with bureaucrats." The commander's expression darkened. "Then you will be fired upon and destroyed. This is your final warning." Looked at the Last Witness's weapon displays, at the power thrumming through the ancient ship, at his crew, all waiting for his decision. "Shields up," commanded. "Engines to full, we're leaving." "This will start a war with the Council," warned. "Then we better make sure we save them anyway," said. "Last Witness, get us out of here." The ancient ship surged forward with impossible speed. The Council fleet fired, but their weapons splashed uselessly against shields that were older and stronger than anything they had. The Last Witness burst through their formation and accelerated into deep space. Behind them, the Council ships tried to follow. They failed. Ahead lay 6 destinations, 6 pieces of a weapon that might save everything. And felt, for the first time since finding the ship, like maybe they actually had a chance. The first facility was easy. It sat in an abandoned nebula, hidden by radiation clouds. The Last Witness navigated through effortlessly, and they found a storage vault containing what the ship called a dimensional anchor. It looked like a metal sphere covered in glowing symbols. Seven carried it aboard carefully. "What does it do?" asked. "It creates a pocket in reality," the Last Witness explained. "Large enough to trap even a harvester, but it must be activated from inside the harvester formation. A suicide mission." Felt cold. Let's hope we find another way. The second facility was harder. It was in space, and the Council had warned all species about the rogue human ship, had to sneak in using stealth systems. They found weapon blueprints there, information the Last Witness needed to upgrade its cannons. They escaped just as patrol ships arrived. The third facility required solving a puzzle, ancient mechanisms that only responded to creative thinking, and worked together for hours, trying different combinations. Kept watch while Seven analyzed the structure. Finally, they solved it through pure human stubbornness, trying every possibility until something worked. They gained access to a shield generator technology that made their ship nearly invulnerable. The fourth facility was abandoned, destroyed by looters centuries ago. They found nothing. "We're missing a piece," said, frustrated. They had 43 days left. "The 5th location is in the contested zone," said. "Territory that 3 species all claim. It's basically a war zone." "Then we go carefully," said. But careful was not enough. At the 5th facility, they ran into another salvage team. These were not friendly. Pirates from 6 different species, all armed, all willing to kill for predecessor technology. A battle erupted. The Last Witness fought brilliantly, but the pirates had numbers. stood on the bridge making split-second decisions while managed shields and 7 coordinated weapon fire, had suited up in combat armor and was physically defending their breach point. "We can't hold them off much longer," shouted. Then 7 did something unexpected. The robot connected directly to the last witness's weapon systems and took manual control. Its combat programming, dormant since the war, activated fully. The old battle machine remembered how to fight. The pirates fell back, shocked by the precision and brutality of the counterattack. In the chaos, reached the facility's core and extracted another component, a power amplifier that would triple their weapon output. They escaped, but barely. The last witness's hull bore scorch marks and punctures, worked around the clock making repairs. "One more location," said, exhausted. "Then we have everything." The 6th facility was deep in human space, near Earth itself. Felt strange going home after so many years in the void. The station was hidden in Earth's asteroid belt, disguised as a mining facility. When they entered it, found something unexpected, a message specifically for humans. It played automatically when he stepped inside. A hologram appeared showing one of the predecessors. The being looked almost human but not quite, taller, more graceful, eyes that held ancient sadness. "If you are seeing this," the predecessor said, "then my species is extinct. I am sorry we failed. Sorry we could not stop the harvesters, but we have left you tools, weapons, knowledge, and hope." The hologram looked directly at hope is humanity's greatest strength. Other species plan, they calculate, they seek certainty, but you humans hope even when logic says you should despair. That is why you will succeed where we failed. The message faded. In its place, they found the final component, targeting algorithms that would let them track harvesters through dimensions. "We have everything," confirmed. "The last witness is as ready as it will ever be." "And we have 27 days left," added. But their time ran out faster than expected. Long-range sensors detected something at the galaxy's edge, massive distortions in space. The harvesters had arrived early. The Galactic Council finally believed. Too late, but they believed. Panic spread across thousands of worlds. Every species scrambled to prepare defenses that would be useless. The Council sent a message to, begging him to share the last witness's technology. Refused. "They had their chance," he said bitterly. "They called us criminals, now they want our help." "They are still people," 7 pointed out. "Billions of them, innocents who will die." Knew 7 was right. He hated it, but he knew. "Fine, tell them to mass every fleet they have at these coordinates." He transmitted a location near the galaxy's edge. "We'll make our stand there." The species came. Humans, even species that had been enemies during the Convergence War. Thousands of ships gathering for one final battle, stood on the bridge of the last witness and felt the weight of it all. "Is this enough?" asked quietly, standing beside him. "No," said honestly. "According to the last witness's predictions, we have a 3% chance of success." 3%, repeated. He laughed darkly. "I've fought worse odds." "That's a lie, but I appreciate it," said. Then the harvesters arrived. They were worse than the visions showed. Tears in reality that looked like wounds in the universe itself. Shapes that hurt the mind to perceive. They consumed light, matter, energy, everything. The Allied fleet opened fire, and their weapons just disappeared into the darkness. "This is hopeless," said, watching ships die by the dozens. But was watching something else. The harvesters moved in patterns, not random, coordinated. They had a center point, a place where their formations converged. "The dimensional anchor," said suddenly. "If we can activate it at their convergence point, we can trap them all." "That requires someone to fly directly into the center of their formation," said. Her face went pale. "That's suicide." "I know," looked at his crew, at 7 who had protected him for so many years, at who came back despite everything, at who risked everything to help. Get to the escape pods. I'll take the last witness in alone. No, Seven said simply. That's an order, snapped. I do not take orders anymore, Seven replied. I am not your tool, I am your friend, and friends do not abandon each other. Wiped her eyes. I didn't come all this way to leave now. Checked his weapon. Someone needs to make sure you don't screw this up, might as well be me. Wanted to argue, wanted to force them to leave, but he saw their faces and knew it was useless. They had made their choice. Then let's make it count, said. The last witness accelerated toward the Harvester formation. Ships exploded around them, but they kept going, faster, deeper, into the darkness where reality itself seemed to break down. The Harvesters noticed them, all of them. The full weight of their attention fell on the last witness like a crushing hand. Shields failed, hull plates buckled, rerouted all power to engines. Seven fired every weapon they had, sealed breach points with emergency foam. They were going to die, knew it, but maybe, just maybe, they could activate the anchor first. Convergence point in 30 seconds, the last witness said. Its voice was calm despite the damage. It has been an honor knowing you. Same, whispered. He held the dimensional anchor, its surface burning cold in his hands. Everyone brace. 20 seconds. A harvester's appendage punched through the hull, missing 7 by centimeters. 10 seconds. The bridge was falling apart, could see stars through cracks in the ceiling. 5 seconds. Grabbed his hand, stood at his other side. Seven's metal hand rested on his shoulder. 0. Activated the anchor. Reality screamed. The anchor expanded, creating a pocket dimension that swallowed the Harvester formation. The last witness was at the center of it all and felt the pull trying to tear them apart. But then something else happened. The last witness spoke one last time, predecessor override activated, preservation field deploying. A cocoon of energy wrapped around the bridge, around and his crew. Time stopped, or slowed, could not tell. He could see the harvesters being pulled into the dimensional pocket, collapsing in on themselves, trapped forever in a prison they could not escape. They had won. Then darkness took him. Woke up to sunlight. Real sunlight, not from a star through a ship's viewport, but Earth's sun shining through a window. He was in a hospital bed. His body felt strange, like he had been asleep for a very long time. A familiar voice said. He turned his head, sat beside his bed. She looked older, much older. Her hair was gray now, her face lined with age, but her eyes were the same. How long? Asked. 200 years, said softly. The preservation field kept you and Seven in stasis. Didn't make it. He was outside the field when it activated. She wiped her eyes. But he saved billions. You all did. Process that, 200 years, the harvesters. Still trapped, the dimensional anchor held. Humanity studied it, learned from it. We're ready if they ever escape, smiled. You're a legend now, all of you, the crew that saved the galaxy. I don't feel like a legend, said. I feel like I lost everything. You saved everything, corrected. She squeezed his hand. And I waited. I promised myself I would wait for you. Seven appeared in the doorway. The robot looked the same as always, unchanged by time. You are awake. Seven felt tears in his eyes. You stubborn machine, you should have evacuated. I had a purpose, Seven said, moving to his bedside. Protect humans, protect you. I completed my purpose. They took to see the memorial. It stood in Earth's capital city, a massive monument with thousands of names carved in stone. People who died fighting the harvesters. He found Snaim, and Snaim from the war so long ago. A new name had been added recently, his own, though he was not dead, a symbol that some sacrifices transcended time. What do we do now? Asked. She smiled. Live, rebuild, hope. That's what humans do best, remember. Looked up at the monument, at all those names, all those sacrifices. Then he looked at and Seven, the two constants in his life across centuries. "Yeah," he said quietly, "let's hope." Above them, in orbit, humanity's new fleet patrolled the stars. Ships built with predecessor technology and human ingenuity. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Never dismiss the young species. Never underestimate those who hope. Because when the universe needed saving, it was not the strongest or the who succeeded. It was the stubborn salvager and his combat robot who refused to give up. It was humanity, proving once and for all that they belonged among the stars. It was humans, doing what they did best, surviving the impossible and calling it Tuesday.